Welcome to Red Cell UX, where we break down board games with a dual perspective. I'm Kelly, a UX designer and new gamer.
And I'm Clay. I'm also here, and I'm a slightly more experienced gamer. Join us while we explore, discuss
And occasionally disagree.
about the world of tabletop games.
This is Red Cell UX First Play, our quick take after one run of a new game. No deep dives, just unfiltered thoughts while it's still fresh on the table. Tonight, we are going to talk about the board game Last Light. We played it last night at our board game night. We had a friend come over.
We played it 3-player.
Yes, so we played it 3-player. So for those that haven't heard yet, Last Light is basically a 4X game. So tell us what 4X is.
Oh boy. It is explore, expand, exploit, and exterminate. So in these games, think of like building a civilization and upgrading it and going out and conquering. That's
Yeah.
basically the gist of these games.
Okay. So this one is space themed, obviously, so you know we're gonna like it. We picked it up at Gen Con. Really excited. It was on our review of the this year's Gen Con. It was one of my top games that I was really excited about that I think surprised you. We told the story, like, I kind of walked off and was like, let's get it and go.
Yeah.
Because it looked so cool. But we finally played it. So it is essentially a game set in a dying universe. You control asymmetric alien factions that are racing to gather light from the last remaining star before it fades. Um,
That's the theme.
yes.
Yeah. Uh, Mechanically,
Uh-huh.
it's card driven. It's got dudes on a map.
Mm-hmm.
The board, if you haven't seen it before, has very oddly shaped spaces, and they're shaped. I don't even know how to describe them. They're like half circles. Some of them are kind of pointed. Some of them are they're all very rounded. But it's for adjacency. And then I'm getting off
Okay,
topic.
so I think to explain it, there is a central star, and then the board rotates around that, and then there are pieces in outward moving concentric circles that like are divided up. Right? I mean, there
Right.
are
Yeah.
places of space that you are trying to explore.
Yeah. So the central board rotates in two different layers, and then the outer layer, the board itself, doesn't move. But the spaces on the board are weirdly shaped. I wouldn't know how to describe them. They're amorphous.
Okay.
They're kind of round, but it allows them to touch other spaces at odd angles, which works because the central parts are rotating at different speeds.
Yeah.
So things don't always align quite right, but the weirdly shaped spaces kind of let them touch multiple places at
Yeah.
once.
I think it was like a benefit. Yeah. Unlike like a traditional grid or like a hex
Yeah, yeah,
board, every time I was on a space, there were, depending on how the board had rotated, maybe more or less spots that I could go to that were adjacent.
yeah. So it's card driven. Everybody has the same hand of 6 action cards, and you simultaneously all choose an action and then carry out your action, which is neat. It's very time saving. And most of the actions don't matter the order because they don't interact, except for the one where you move and fight. That one does have a turn order that does matter. But all the others can pretty much be carried out at the same time, which really speeds the game up. This game is a 4X game, which traditionally are big and long all day games, which I
Yeah.
love, but don't always have time for.
That's not for everybody in
Yeah, it's
every
also not for
situation.
everybody.
Sure.
Uh, this one was, as advertised, very quick.
Yeah. I that is something that I really liked about it is I feel like I can take it to the family and convince them to play because it is faster. Um and unlike some 4X games, I think it's a little less complex or a little lighter in weight.
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty straightforward. Even the you have this giant deck of technology that everybody's drawing from, so it's a central deck. Sometimes in 4X games or space games, you would assume you have your own tech tree that's unique to you and your civilization. This is just a central deck of cards that everybody's drawing from. But everything that those cards did was pretty straightforward, and like it didn't complicate things very much. Occasionally, you'd gain light, and somebody would be like, "What? How'd you get light that way?" You know,
Yeah. I
light
think
are the victory points in this game.
there are a couple of ways that you can collect them. You can either do that through exploration, you can build a what is it called on your planet?
An extractor.
An extractor on your planet as a resource. You could you win some through combat? I don't know. We didn't do a lot of combat. We ended up playing like a very nice version.
Which I think is not the right way to play this game. We'll talk about that in a minute. But yes, you could. Every 4 ships that went to your graveyard, gave you 1 light.
Right. Yes. And then like through your technology tree, I think you could start either gathering or stealing depending on. So there were like a couple of ways to get it.
And then position in the galaxy as well. So the closer you built those extractors to the central star, the more light you'd get at the end,
Yeah.
when you played your reset action.
Yeah.
Um, and for having ships in the very central part next to the white dwarf star when the round ended. Those are the main ways to get light.
Yeah. So overall, I really liked the way that the board rotated. I think when you initially were explaining it, and I think you did a great job of explaining the rules to the game, but I think you said something like, "Oh, that the inner ring is going to rotate 45 degrees and the outer ring is going to rotate 90." So the very after the first round, when the first rotation happens, I was expecting them to only do that and didn't realize that the first movement was going to happen together. On the second movement was going to be only that one ring.
It moved faster and further than you thought it did, which is good because the
Yes.
game was short. So
Yeah. But it was interesting because then I had chips already kind of out there, which we'll talk about, but like I was immediately in front of your home base,
yeah, and
basically.
then my ships were immediately in front of Barry's home base, and
Right.
Barry's ships were over towards
Well, no, his weren't because he
oh, right.
didn't get
Well, he didn't
there.
get any ships out there.
Not the first round.
Yeah. Uh, so yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
If you think of, I don't know, moving guys or dudes on a map, right? Dudes on a map, very traditional. You can kind of build your walls, section off your part of the map, fortify it, move this. No, my part of the map is now suddenly directly in front of your home base,
Yeah.
and then directly in front of the next person's home
Yeah.
base, and then
It was cool.
yeah.
I think Barry pointed out something really smart, which is that like the rotation of it happens backwards of our solar system.
Oh yeah.
So that was like an interesting choice given the theme.
Hmm. Yeah. I, anyways, it was neat. That mechanic was not gimmicky. Something like that could be seen as a gimmick, but it had real consequences to the state of the board and the way you would
Yeah.
play the game.
Yeah, and it added I think a layer to the strategy that was really nice.
Yeah, and in addition, this game being so fast, if it didn't rotate like that, we may have never come in contact with each other, or it would have been much harder.
That's true. The movement was my movement and Barry's movement was a little more limited. So I think there were a lot of spaces between us, and then there were basically asteroids that blocked you from really
Space walls.
space. Yeah,
Yeah, depending on the number of players you're playing with, and this game can go all the way. It goes from 2 to 8 because we have the expansion. The expansion adds 5 through 8 players.
wait, like, but when you say that, so we came back from Gen Con with two huge boxes. I
Yeah.
was thinking the expansion was going to add something, have like new abilities, but really what it does is the exact same game, but for an additional four
Yeah,
players.
it's just extra components for more players and extensions to the board to accommodate those extra players.
So that's interesting. I don't know that we needed it because I don't know how often we're going to get 5 to 8
Yeah, had
players.
we taken more time
Well,
to
I
look
took
at
none,
I
so
I
that's
did,
on
yeah,
me.
well, me too. We probably would not have, just because yeah, we didn't need that. Although
We might have, because if my family's gonna play, that's automatically 6 of
that's
us.
true. And there was no green player color in the base game. So,
Oh.
see, and I like green.
Wait, is that true? There wasn't?
Yeah, it came with purple, which I also like, so, I'd have been fine.
I don't know, the color choices were, like, odd. So, the orange and the red races, alien races, factions,
Colors.
they looked so similar, and I have, like, no color issues, but that
For as
even for
wildly
me.
different as all the other colors looked,
Yeah.
those 2 were very close together. Something that was cool about the ships is that each color of ship, each set, these colors aren't related to any race or anything. It's just a player color. So each player color set of ships had different models for the ships, which is really neat. Now,
It's interesting that you say that's neat,
yeah,
because I didn't like that.
right, because the ones I used, the small ships were just larger than
Yeah.
both yours and Barry's small ships, and that confused both of you initially because you
Yeah.
thought I had out medium-sized ships.
I thought you were coming out very aggressive out of the gate. I was like, "How did you already build a medium ship?" Not realizing that was your small ship. So that was probably honestly a detriment to you, but I kept having to like look back at y'all's off the board ships and say, "Hold on, what am I getting near? Is it a medium, a large, a
Yeah, I
small?"
think that's a just a problem with the first play. I think in subsequent plays, I would probably just be like, "Hey, these are my small, these are my medium, this is my large. What's yours look like?"
And then Barry didn't help because he showed up and he was like, "Hey, your large ships look like bugs." I was like, "Oh, great. Thanks a lot."
They were
Which he
cool.
wasn't wrong. They had like weird little exoskeletons.
Yeah,
It
I
was
liked them.
cool.
They were cool looking.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh,
I did like that we all played simultaneously. Like we all put down our cards simultaneously. Although I did screw that up a couple of times. Like you were like, "All right, next round," and I'm like just throwing mine down, and then maybe one of us wasn't ready, which was fine.
yeah, I mean, it's not like we were playing super serious or
No,
cutthroat, but that is the thing where like you didn't want to give somebody information that would
right.
influence their pick ahead of time. So, uh,
I mean, it didn't hurt me in the game, but
yeah, yeah, you won. So, um, I liked that you could. So there's, as previously mentioned, there's 3 sizes of ships: small, medium, or large. And in the game, some of the technologies you can buy, you could assign them to ship sizes, and I thought that was neat. So you could, like, you couldn't upgrade the small ships individually, but you could upgrade the
right.
small ships separate from the medium ships, separate from the large ships. This is kind of like Eclipse, where you have the different ship sizes where that you can upgrade. Not as in depth, but those technologies you're drawing from have different things for ship upgrades, and you can just assign them to any ship. So you could make like really interesting combinations. Like you had a small ship that stole people's resources,
Mhm.
and Barry had small ships that could destroy extractors. Like,
Wait, did he?
yeah, he did, and it was separate from the combat you were doing. It wasn't like the
Holy cow.
because there's an ability to attack extractors, but it has to be the last thing left in the space. His ability allowed him to like make an additional attack against an extractor regardless of if there were ships in the space or
That's
not.
wild. I didn't know that because I don't think he ever utilized that.
He didn't, but that's mostly because the game ended so quick.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, so I like that about it. Like, I think we mentioned it is quicker, but you're still making enough decisions that felt meaningful.
yeah.
Well, I was. You and Barry kept playing the exact same things. You guys play very similarly. So that was interesting.
I think we've just played a lot of games and we just happened to and we had a similar starting point, whereas your starting point was different.
Yeah. So that is something that when I first sat down, I noticed immediately. And as you were explaining the rules, I kind of stopped listening partially and like reordered my cards and felt very strongly, like in the beginning, this is the order I'm going with. Here's my strategy. But I didn't want to call out to you. And I told you guys after, and I'm sure you noticed at some point, was like I started kind of one step closer to the inner rings and planets than you and Barry did.
Yeah, and it made a pretty big difference.
No,
So,
it made no difference. I won based solely off my strategy and great gameplay
right,
and a little bit of luck.
and the privilege of your beginning spot. Yeah,
I
just
don't
like
think so.
life.
Well, there's no way to know. I offered to play again and start from where you guys started, and you guys said no.
Well, we'll get into final
So,
thoughts here in a minute, but
okay.
our friend did not enjoy it. So, yeah, this it's a common thing with square board game boards that deal with positions or like some kind of spatial element to them.
Yeah.
That with a third player or an odd number of players, it can be difficult for starting positions to be completely even because of the the weird shapes of the spaces of this board. I thought that they had solved that problem, but they did not. I haven't yet, but I want to go back and look through the expansion book with the extra board extensions and see if they have different starting positions.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why it would have a different starting position for 3 players when the sole purpose of that box is to make it playable for 5 to 8.
I mean, you're
Like,
right.
if that's true, why not put that in the base game?
Yeah, I mean, you're right.
But they did have, like, the expansion does have a part that you add on that makes the square board game circular.
All right.
So they could have.
Now I've got to find out. Hold, please.
Okay, we'll pause.
And we're back. Okay.
Okay,
So,
so this puts a whole new light on
new
everything.
developments. First off, no, the expansion does not have setups for 4 players or below.
So
However,
I was still right there. Just want to clarify. But
was it a thing about being right?
always.
Okay, that's true. So, I set up the board wrong for 3 players for myself and Barry.
So now that I am looking at the setup, I didn't see the setup before, but now that I'm looking at it and we just talked through it while we took a break, I would imagine that that is a very common mistake.
Yeah. So Barry and I started one space further away from the center than we should have because I set the game up wrong. So we are going to have to play the game again. But that does alleviate a lot of the positional complaints that
Yes.
yeah.
So what you're saying is my win doesn't count now and is asterisked by the fact that I started closer. I've been defending myself like it was mostly strategy. How dare you guys say it's set up like
But then you looked at the setup.
but then it was set up incorrectly, but here's the thing. In the rules, they don't give you an indicator like yours and Barry's home planet or base, like
Colony ship is what it's called.
colony. Okay.
Yeah.
Starts over 2 spaces. There's like a line through
Yeah, it's
it.
splitting 2 spaces.
Mine starts on a space of its own. So when you put the ship there, you put it somewhere in that space. Well, you and Barry put yours behind it. I put mine I was asking like left or right, does it matter? Because mine kind of like
They're weird shapes.
yeah, they are weird shapes. But it's also hard to see because like it's showing the purple on a black printout here. And it's not super bright. Like I didn't even
No, I mean
realize
I can't fault the game for this. I set it up wrong. It all I did was open this book again and be like, "Oh, I set the game up wrong." It was that easy to see. But for the first
no,
time, and this being the only way we had played it, like I didn't have another reference of the
that's
book.
fair, but
Yeah.
having been in the UX profession for
Oh,
a
right. Red
while,
Sun
I'm not going to
UX.
put that onus on you to figure it out. I think it is on the company. They did not differentiate that line at all. They did not call that out in the rule book the way that some other rule books might have made a joke about it or called it out again and said, "Hey, just so you know." Like I'm sure they did tons of play testing and they would have seen people do this. I don't think you're the only one.
Yeah, but that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Sorry, Barry. You
Okay,
really did not like this
so
game.
we will have to text him right after this podcast and say that I'm not gonna say my win didn't count. I still had a solid strategy. We'll find out next time we play if I still win.
Yeah, you did have a very good strategy. There is more. There's some randomness in this game. The planets are randomly put out. What the planets hold is random. What uh, there's these deep space markers on spaces where there are no planets, and you
Mhm.
when you go into that spot, you flip them over and get something, and that's also
Yeah.
random. You wound up with a mountain of resources at one point.
I did. So very I think my first technology that I built was basically you can build another small ship without paying a price. And so what I did was like get to that outer ring, build a base there, or it was like you could build it on one of your planets. So
Oh
I
yes.
took a planet and then immediately put a couple ships there and just kind of fanned out to every deep space token. Because when you play the move card, you can move every ship you have. You don't just move one ship. So I was like, "Oh, let me grab all the deep space, get all those resources cuz they're finite and they're about to go away and then I'll worry about the planets." Oh no, have I messed up something else? You can move all of your ships. What are you looking at? Are you checking me? Do you need to pull it? Were you not doing that? This is gonna really highlight why I won.
Oh no, no. I mean, I was moving them, but
Okay. So what? Well, tell me, what are you looking up then?
had a question because there's a question that came up during gameplay about the planetary achievement cards, which are these cards, and every player gets a set of them, and they say a certain number of planets that you must control, and all the planets have colors associated with them: green, red, blue, yellow. And so it's control this many red planets for 2 light, control this many yellow
Yes.
planets for 3 light.
Yeah, and I have on my notes that I wish those were asymmetric.
So we were confused by this because I gave everybody a full set and then I explained the rules. And I had read this, but I had forgotten about it because I set up and then later taught the rules. And this is part of setup. What was supposed to happen with those? Because what we did is we all had
The full
the
set.
full set.
Yeah.
What you're supposed to do during setup is receive the full set and then secretly choose one of those cards and put the rest back in the box.
Okay. Interesting. So that does explain it because on the cards it very clearly says like keep hidden. And we're all after the game like, well, hold on, you had the exact same cards with the same amount of light for the same color planets. Why would we have to keep that hidden? Because then if you achieve that goal, it says like play it immediately and reveal that. Also, that changes the length of the game because I got light for 3 of those cards
You
to
get light for
win.
3 of those cards?
Well, yes, because here's the thing. It's like for 2 red planets, you get light. For 3 green planets, I don't know if that's the right color, but like all of the planets have more than one color. So I'm just like every time I got a new planet, I'm getting another set of light cards or light tokens.
Well, it wouldn't have mattered because your last round you were set to like collect 11 light or something out of the 20 needed to win.
Right, but I mean, I don't know how many of those were like false now. Okay, I wish we hadn't done this episode because now all we're doing is highlighting that my win didn't count.
Well, I taught this game, so
Oh, so it's on you.
you won the game I taught.
Yeah, I mean, I did, but I was wondering why I was like crushing two very experienced gamers who have the same strategy and have played lots of 4X, and I am like literally killing it,
Well,
and I don't know what I'm doing. So.
yeah. I mean, that's attention to detail. It's those little things that can make a big difference. An incorrect position of one space made
And
it.
then way too many light cards for me.
I didn't realize you had collected a bunch of light from that because I only like completed one of them, and Barry got none of them.
I got 3 of them. I got the 2, 3, and 4 planet.
We
once.
were clearly not paying attention to what you were doing.
Well, at the very end, I think Barry was, like, done, and you were talking to him, and I just got up and collected my last set of light, and then you guys were like, "You have 15 light?" And I was like, "Yeah." And Barry was like, "I can't catch up, like, that's it, I'm done." But now I know why he was so frustrated with this game, because we were playing it all wrong.
Not all wrong, just a couple parts, just like a couple little
I
parts.
mean, you guys heard it. Clay said that I still won. I
You
won the game you taught.
you won the game I taught.
That I'm gonna, like, maybe record this, take that snippet,
We
put
are
it on
recording this.
Instagram. Yeah, I'm gonna take the snippet, put it on Instagram, and then I'm also gonna take the snippet of you recounting my tacta points and being like, "Well, I guess you won." I just have so many audio recordings of that. This is great.
Uh, I'm sure that number will only increase as we go.
Okay, so since we played it all wrong, I'll just shift gears to I love the look of it. I mean, it's
Oh, it's
a
beautiful.
beautiful game. It's got some spot UV coating.
I think we have the deluxe version. I
Okay.
I don't know that the regular version has spot UV on the board.
Okay. I didn't know there was a regular version. I guess that should have occurred to me. Haven't seen it. I really like ours. I like the gold promo planet that we have.
Yeah, it's a just a promo. It counts as every color planet. We also had some promo exploration marks. That random one that was near me that gave a random resource, but could also give nothing. That was a promo.
Okay. While I like it, I have more complaints similar to the red and orange being too close is like those planets, and I think most people will agree, because they're marbled, it is very hard to tell what colors they are. Like if you're gonna mix a blue and a yellow planet, you're gonna get some green in there, but it's not a green planet.
That's true. Now, to alleviate that, the bases of the planet show the colors that they are. And something they did that was interesting was I think on those colored rings, I'd have to look again. I think each color does have a different like texture on it, but there's nothing to contextualize which one belongs to which.
I didn't see a texture, but I do know that they're printing it in CMYK, obviously, and so it's showing up darker than it would on a screen. And even the base of the planets, I think, is very hard to see, depending on the light of like your game room.
That's true. And half of the base gets covered by the exploration marker.
That's true too. So there was like one planet that has all the colors, and then there was at least one other planet that had, I think, four colors. Is that true? Maybe there are
Uh,
only 4 colors, so that's the same thing, but regardless,
three.
there was at least a couple where covering up that half for the, like, resource and the what's it called? Exploiter? No. The little
Extractor?
yeah, extractor.
Yeah.
It covered up maybe I wasn't supposed to be putting the extractor on the planet base too, because I was, like, covering up what color the
I didn't
planet
put it there
was.
just because it was hard to see that there was
Yeah,
an extractor there,
yeah.
yeah.
I think there were, like, other ways they could have solved that for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it does look very striking. If this is a game you decide to set up somewhere in public, people will stop because it's got, like,
Sure.
floating balls for planets, and
Yeah.
the
I
board
mean, it
is
was
pretty
cool.
and rotates, and you got plastic ships, and
Yes. It was absolutely cool. I also really liked my dice set. I know we got the, like, additional pink and purple ones that kinda look like a galaxy,
they
and
were
I
very pretty.
stuck you guys with the plain black and white ones, but worth it. I love them, they're cute. Had a hard time differentiating between the trade goods.
Yeah, we, again, have the deluxe components, and so they are plastic pieces that are caged. They look like they're just called like generic resources, but they look really cool.
They did look cool. Do you know what they remind me of? If anybody's from the, like, 80s and 90s, the how you would go to the bank and, like, put a check in that tube that gets
Oh,
sucked into the
like that
bank from the
pneumatic tube.
drive-through? Yeah.
That's funny.
That's what they reminded me of.
Yeah. Well, they had different colored like innards, like a different
Yeah.
colored
Like,
bar.
some type of gel in there, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was plastic, but it
No, no, I know, but that's
yeah.
what it was, like, simulating,
And
right?
it was clear, purple, and gold, and they were distinct. Like when you held them next to each other, they were distinct, but They were, unless you had, like, light shining through them when they were on the table, they were kind of similar
I
looking.
agree, but even if you're holding them next to each other, the part where you can see the innards
Yeah.
was small.
Compared
Like
to the
the
case, which was
outer,
gray
yeah.
on all of them. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And I know that I'm not the only person that's had this problem because I have since we played looked online and there are people saying that they are like hand painting these, that they're using different like components from other games to simulate this. Same with again the last light, the light tokens. I think you initially didn't even realize there was a difference.
I didn't.
They're
Yeah, there's
clear, they
2
look
different.
cool,
Yeah.
but there's one that's 1 and there's one that's 5, and they are very similar in size. The 5 is slightly larger, but that's the
Slightly larger.
only differentiator.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing people using tokens from Septima and some other things.
I think those would look cool with, like, maybe a wash on them or something. It would make them stand out a little more too, because 'cause they're,
Yeah.
like, completely clear. They have detail on them, but they're just clear.
Right. I mean, you can't see any of the detail because they're clear.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think for the amount of effort that they put into a lot of the components here, I think it wouldn't have been that much of a different step. Okay. So I have one more complaint about
Oh,
the
okay. Okay.
components. You have none? Okay.
I
The first player token.
I mean, first player tokens are they're never a great component.
That's fine.
Yeah.
This one was huge for a first player token. It looked like the game board or something, but like it was big enough that multiple ships would fit on there. It was bigger than the graveyard. And I was like, what is this for? Like, were you about to put something here? And you were like, nope, that's just the first player token.
Let me ask you, did you ever forget who the first player was?
Well, no, because we only made it through 3 rounds, three and
Most
a half
effective component in the game.
rounds. Well, it wasn't because of that. It's because I can keep track of who started when there's only 3 of us.
Yeah, that's true.
And even when you handed it to Barry, he just put it off to the side, like behind our snacks and stuff. So it's fine. I mean, yes, it did its job, but it's like a large white blank component.
It's the graphic from the front of the box.
Right.
Yeah, the dying star with
Yeah.
its moons or
So it's
whatever it
a
is around
large
it.
white circle.
Yeah.
It's like weird to me. Like you extra made everything else and then made that. It's fine. I mean, I guess it did its job.
Yeah, I think it's pretty. I like the way the game looks.
Okay.
It's a little dark because it's space, and they didn't choose to add color. In fact, they added to ours at least UV coating, on
Yeah,
black, so black on black, which is very pretty.
I
Uh,
like it a lot.
I do too.
This is sounding like I'm complaining a lot. I'm the one who was like, "Let's play that game again." Like I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, you bought this game not sight unseen because you bought
I
it
saw
because
it.
you saw it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
saw it. I bought it because I saw it and asked 0 questions about any mechanic. That's not how a gamer buys games. I'm sure that matters to you guys, but I saw the theme and I saw the components and I was like, "That game. I already know we're going to get it." And
and we
then we
got
bought
it.
it.
So now that we've bought it, now that we've played it, even though we played it slightly wrong,
Slightly. This is like I'm counting 3 or 4 things we did wrong. I think that they would make a huge difference in the outcome.
that was two. There was two things, but I do think they would have made a difference. Uh, Anyways, now that it's been confirmed that you played the game wrong, what are your final thoughts?
Okay. Well, I have more complaints. And then okay, but I think you're going to agree with me on this.
Okay.
One is the attack range. The attack range for somebody is okay, the attack range for the game is 1. And what that means in the game is they must be in your space. There's no 0. Like 1 to me is 1 spot away from me or an adjacent space. But no, that's not how this worked. That's fine, but it's like elevators that skip the 13th floor. It's like, why?
Well, I don't think that was initially y'all's complaint. What bothered you and Barry was that the attack range of one meant within the space you were in,
That's what I just said.
but the movement range of 1 meant that you could move to an adjacent space.
Yeah. So those are different. And also not what one means. One of those I'm fine with. The movement being one space away.
Yeah. On the other
The
hand
range being 0 spaces away.
on the other hand, I taught it to you. You were both outraged and affected by it, and then never forgot. So, effective.
That's that's not even you've broken me. I have no response to that kind of argument.
Eh,
I mean, my final thoughts were I loved it. I won. I want to play again. I think not only did me winning affect how I feel about it and how beautiful it was, but I really liked that you two have the same strategy. I'm talking same round and a half. You guys are playing the exact same cards, and I was the only outlier. Made me feel like halfway through the game when I realized, oh my God, I'm doing this well, that I was making the right choice. And Barry and I both are the same in the way that, like, we very much stress out about the first few moves because you don't want to lose and then not being able to catch up in the very beginning, which is why my family will not play Food Chain Magnate with you anymore.
cowards.
But I liked that my strategy, it felt like my decisions held some weight in the strategy, but it also had enough randomness that I think it would have nice replayability.
Yeah, the decisions, it did feel like I was doing things and it was happening very quickly. I felt like I was building, like I was expanding, exploring,
Mhm.
all the X's, all 4 of them.
Yeah.
Um, there was randomness in the game for sure,
Yeah.
and that much randomness might bother me if the game went on for 3 hours, 4 hours, but it didn't.
Yeah.
It was quick. It did what it did, and then it was done, and I had a good time playing it. You know, I didn't win, but
I mean, you don't win on 46% of the games right now.
that's true. But,
I
I
know that number because that's my current win rating. Oh, I guess that's not true because some of those wins are co-op
yeah, that's true.
and I save you.
Some of our losses are co-op too.
Well,
The,
do better.
the
Every Ace of Spades one.
the, the length of the game was perfect for what it was, and it gave me that 4x feel, and we didn't have to do it all day, which is great. I don't mind, playing a game all day. I love Twilight Imperium, uh, but I don't often have days where I can do that.
Yeah.
So this one was nice.
Not right now. I think we'll get back to it. We've got to get into some heavier games coming up. I think you're really itching to play Star Trek Captain's Chair. That's, from what I hear, a very heavy game, so maybe we'll keep the space theme going and play that soon.
We've got lots of space games to play. Thanks for listening to Red Cell. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. You can find us on Instagram at RedCellUX, where we post behind the scenes extra content and game highlights.
We'll be back next time with more stories, strategy, and design insights from the world of tabletop gaming.